Mazel Tov.
Thank you.
Friday night, my wife reminded me that I forgot to go to her wedding.
Another wedding?
No, to your
Friday
wedding night. So I put it down on the calendar, what I told to the face. Your face is shining.
Face is shining or is it just a big smile?
No, it's shining.
My wife cooked for the first time tonight and it was excellent. So I'm very excited.
Okay. Up to my page. Up to page Kif Mem Hey. The first paragraph, Ashoisa. Okay. So the pdaf from the Ashoisa Sicha Oile Gabamashke. I think this the Welt is very makbar. I grew up, I remember everyone was makbar. Not to drink the foam that you pour beer. So you pour beer, the foam it's called.
It's called head actually.
How does it called?
Head.
So the minig is not to drink it out. It says the Gemara says is a skuna. Shoysis yoyla gamashke kusha riren habu min achoyten. It causes that your nose should run all the time. If you blow it, kusha l'rosh. It's not good for your headache. This is a Gemara. Kusha la'aniyas. You push it to the side. There is, unfortunately, not good. This is.
The best option is to have the rose line.
The meaning is it's kushani means the poverty will chase you. That's really what it means.
And this is all has to do with the foam of the beer?
The foam of a beer or even wine. Any foam. Anyway, so this is a Gemara. This is not. Then a shoyse mayim bekara. The person drinks water in a kara. Kara is a shissel. How you say a serving bowl. And a serving bowl is kusha lekilyan anayim. This, I don't know how you translate kilyan in English. It's a pussing in the Torah. When a person has longing and his longing is not met, it's called kilyan anayim. It's a pussing in the Torah. I don't know how you say it.
Like drinking the milk out of a cereal bowl?
Drinking?
Milk from a cereal bowl after the cereal
No,
bowl?
it's not a bowl, a serving bowl. A kara is a big bug. Shishman ka kusha kinyan kara gefi api akad. If you took a kara, you put it upside down on a kad, kusha lanias. You take a kara and you put it on top of a barrel, which we don't have in the houses anymore. That is not good for poverty. But sibin babayis, if you keep sibin is I don't know how you say in English again. Sibin is what you cut from the wheat. After the wheat comes out, the rest is called sibin. Bran, chaff or bran, it's called. Sibin kushan aniyas. Pastli ba'avet is also kushan aniyas. Bread hanging is also.
Hanging bread?
They used to hang food up. The rats should eat it. This was it's not good because that's a sign that a niyas will come into the house. Poverty. Abusa v'dugem and lochish hoy darkem bekach. Meat and fish they used to hang up to dry, so it's not kushalanias. Prira bas babayis kushalanias. Now this is a famous Rav over here, which everyone quotes. The Rav says, "Imhem b'mukim drisar glaim." Him is mashma without even stepping. In the parenthesis, he says maybe only stepping. The other place can bring down that if you have crumbs on the floor, you step on it, that's kushalanias. The Rav has this in parentheses, meaning to say it's possible. Just having breadcrumbs on the floor is not good for panasa.
Where people normally will.
Yeah.
What do you
Just clean it up. Today we live in a, well, in Shabbos,
What about breadcrumbs
on
on the table?
the tables. That's what I'm saying. Breadcrumbs on the floor, pashtus. The question is, you have to step on.
On the table the whole time.
Yeah.
This is everybody.
I don't know. He doesn't quote a Zohar. There's a very.
If you have breadcrumbs on the floor, you should sweep it up right away. That's the idea.
That's the idea. The Zohar says a moire digazach, and the Rav does not bring it down. The Zohar says makes a kavachoyim a madach if crumbs is on the floor that it's terrible for poverty. if a person spills a seed, alachas kama poverty would chase them. One of the spilling your seed, your own seed, zera labatolo. Person spills a seed. One of the things that
On the floor, though.
doesn't make a difference. The Reishis Chachma, I don't know if there's a sefer called Reishis Chachma, and I don't know if you all know. And I think when the original Tanya printed his sefer, he didn't want you to learn Tanya unless you learn Reishis Chachma. Reishis Chachma says you see people never struggling for parnasa. He says the reason they struggle for parnasa is because they never did tshuva of chatas neurim. That's what he says. And it's called chatas neurim because usually people do it when they're not married, when you're young, unmarried. Zeravatol is called always chatas neurim because usually you do it when you're before marriage. Anyway, so the Zohar does say. So if you, I always in my shul there's a big pitam aktoidis hanging. And I tell the people that I don't know where this segula comes, but there's two segulas that says in Chazal. One, you should do tshuva on this chet. Second, the Gemara says, respect your wives and you will become wealthy. That is a lot harder. I know we have two newlyweds. I know they stood under the chuppah, thought that from now on, I'll never raise my voice. The reality is, respecting your wife is not an easy thing. I had to speak. My wife works in Chabad, so I was stuck Thursday night. We went to just to say Mazel Tov, and they made me speak. So I said to the Choshen, he got up the Choshen, and he said that it's interesting at a wedding. The 1 minute the Choshen is a Mamash Yom Kippur, and right afterwards it becomes a Simchas Torah. And he tried to explain it in Chabad. I said, Rabbi, I have very simple explanations. Not only at the wedding we have the two extreme feelings, but imagine we're reading under the chuppah the prenuptial agreements. That's what the ksuba is. You know, the ksuba says, what is the ksuba? It says that if we get divorced, I will have to pay the ksuba. No. Come on, standing on the chuppah, I'll never raise my voice. Forget about arguing. Ask every chassan under the chuppah. By him, it's the rest of life smooth sailing. We tell the chassan, there are going to be ups and there's going to be downs. And there's a ksuba. And the reason the ksuba is that you should make sure not to get divorced. That's what the ksuba is. Because shalom bayis is a tough thing. It doesn't go so easy. So I once said over here, the trick of shalom bayis is, the trick of shalom bayis is a very simple trick I tell people, that the first shidduch in the world was a disaster. Chava killed Udam Arishan. She literally murdered him. She fed him food, and he was going to die. Imagine, that's how your wife is. She gives you food, and you're going to die now.
930 years later.
But at the end, he made peace with her. You know why he made peace with her? If it's the only lady in the world, you can make peace. If you tell yourself, if your wife is the only lady in the world, you're going to have great shalom bayis. As long as you think there's another lady in the world, then you're in trouble. You know, this is it. There's nothing to talk about, then you have shalom. Anyways, so the Rav had Varuga Lishbach Mayim, Shem Chamen Beyoise Medayal Besuroi, Kushel Etzeras. That's also Gemara. Gemara Psochim, that you too much hot water on your skin, you scale your skin, you say in English, how you say it? Skull, your skin, and you cause it Etzeras. Cheradoyrich HaKlipa Beitzim, it's also the Gemara says, it's also the Gemara of they're stepping on the eggshells. Chenalovish Chulich Mechibis, a clean shesh, L'ovelu Shmoiniyum Achash, and his Kabe, Shakinim Ashin Chosram. We don't have that. Baruch Hashem, but the good old days, every person was busy cleaning the lice. You know, today, if one child in the school has lice, everyone goes, but the truth is, but that way we're blessed. Lice became a rarity than the normal way.
What does this mean, hot water?
Very hot water on your body. Shouldn't have very hot water.
Does that mean that if somebody takes a very, very hot shower?
He's saying if you take a very hot shower, it's not good. That's what it says. It's not, doesn't mean,
What about these mikvahs that are boiling?
Here you're not pouring it on you, here you're going in.
I don't know. V'chen oichel da gebuse ka'achas, kishbar tzimir. Chabad, they make me not to eat cream cheese and lax.
Some is, some aren't.
Because the Rav does not mention it here. Because in this Gemara that says Dag and Buser is kusha, the B'Yosef had a gersa or sufficient milk. And yeah, the Sfardiga machen because the B'Yosef, the Ashkenazim and Hat, and so I've heard from time to time Chabad is machme, but the Rav does not bring it.
Cheese is something else.
What?
People are machmed by milk, but not by cheese.
And either way, but the Rav does not bring it down. B'chlal not.
So what's the source then?
That's a question that gets in the Gemara, and the Shach says that it's a mistake in the B'Yosef. Okay,
It's a what?
a mistake in the print in B'Yosef. That's what the Shach says. But the Svardim don't want to accept that, and they're very machma. We Ashkenazim will never machma. That's what the Shach says. But to eat fish,
Which Svardim
I don't know. I barely could pass for the Ashkenazim. I should be worried for the Svardim.
But what is the effect of eating fish?
When it says tzaras,
Sakana.
skuna. When it says skuna, when it doesn't say, yeah. I think when it says kushel uvrachar, which really Rashi learns is tzaras. Okay,
Does it mean mamish together in this that the mamish eat together or
together.
after whatever?
Together. Well, the minig is we drink something in between. We don't understand it because once it gets in the digestive system, it's all the same. Just Chazal said it's kushel uvrachar. We just accept it.
Are plates of humra or like fish and meat plates?
Plates we are makbid not to have the same plate, so it's dirty. Not the plate. The Ashken. Let me just. It's a good question. Yeah, if there's meat, if there's fish, we Ashkenaz are makbid. There is a difference between Hungarians and the Polish. The Hungarians were machmir like the Chachmas Odom to have a separate fish pot. I remember growing up, and my wife also, the Hungarians had a separate fish pot. The Polish they didn't have. Some say because Poland was very poor, but they didn't have. They would wash it out well and use the same pot. But that's in the Pasuk talk about it. It was a minig. There's a minig that the Chachmas Odom brings that people had a separate pot for fish.
That's what we do today. We eat fish and then we clear that. And we eat meat.
Yeah, but the pot.
The same pot that your wife makes to filter fish.
My wife has a special pot. That pot is only made for fish.
I know in barbecues we have that.
Does that concept affect
It's also important, the grill, because the barbecue doesn't get cleaned. If you don't clean the barbecue, what did you just say, Dan?
you kosher the oven between fish and meat and
Well, that thing when it says mefurish, you don't need to.
Is there any between chicken and meat? No.
Okay. Now this is based, it's interessant, that the Rav brings a chelik from the Gemara and a chelik in the Zohar too. Usalamet b'fnei anushim. You're not allowed to stand by the front of the woman, to face the woman. B'shu shechazes min hames. When she comes back from a lames, from a levaya. If you're coming and women are coming from a levaya, turn around and run. That's what the Gemara says. Why? Shemalach amuvis maraket ebu lefneim. And Malach Amuvis is coming, dancing. Yesher Reshis Lechabel. He has a Reshis to hurt people. The Zohar says in Pasha B'Yakel, brings this Gemara, and the Zohar says that if Shimon Yechui told his Talmidim that they should be incredible makpid, that when the woman come from Levaya, and they should turn around and run, because people die young because they're not makpid about this. That's what he says.
Is it a Leviah specifically or
Leviah.
a dead body?
What?
Coming from the
Is it coming
cemetery?
from a dead body or
Kerim from a Levaya.
So
When you,
it's just
where do we
there's
come in?
That doesn't.
No, Levaya. She's a Levaya.
What about just going to the cemetery or is this?
No, it's a Levaya. Only certain.
This is not practice nowadays, is it?
It is. I don't know. I grew up, and it was very much Makpid. I grew up here in L.A. I grew up. No woman went to the base Olam. The cemetery. No woman went because the Zohar says woman should not go. It's well done in Shulchan Aruch. Came to L.A. It became a style. Women go to the cemetery. No ladies went because the Zohar says it's dangerous if women go to the cemetery.
Cemetery in Holland, the women are not allowed to go. Are not allowed. I'm not
I mean, allowed to go after the levaya. It says not just. It means after the burial they're allowed to go, but they're not allowed to go. I mean, the Yerushalayim, I grew up in New York. The woman never went. Here it became like a style. Everyone.
So should we not go to a Levaya that's going to have
No, no, no. You could go to levaya. So when the woman come out of the levaya,
We should go out first. We should
she go out and leave first. So if you bump into them, turn around. That's what you should do. And if Chas Shalom, I'm saying, Chas Shalom, a family member, don't go. Tell the woman not to. Not tell the woman not to go to the Beis Olam, to the cemetery.
Understand, so if you go with your wife to a funeral, you know, what do you do exactly?
You run away from her for a week.
How long does this last?
Just from the levaya, coming from the levaya.
If you
Let
get
her,
a
walk
message,
out, let her go in front of you. Let her walk out in front of you. Then you're not in front of
you
her.
gotta drive home with her, what are you talking about?
You're
Just
not
when
facing
you
her
leave the
perfect.
cemetery.
You're driving, she's
Let's see
facing
what
the cemetery.
let's see what to do.
Oh, once you're out of the cemetery, you're okay?
Once, no. If a woman, it's not even go to the cemetery. If a woman are coming from a levaya, you know, let's say up by us in the shul, it's upstairs the levaya, they're coming down, and you bump into them. You know, you're coming and you see the woman leaving the levaya, or they're leaving. Do not, you know, turn around and go a different direction.
Ad Masad, like at what point are they, is it okay? to
After
talk to them?
dispersed, the whole oilam dispersed. He says 7 in a minute. Rav says, if less than 7 women, it's not a problem. He says.
Every time there's a big Levaya upstairs,
But not now,
everyone's going home together, I mean, that's,
Yeah, but don't bump into a woman. Don't face the woman. You meet your wife. I pick up my wife,
But
and
it's 7 or more women, right?
7 more women.
And that's until they get out of the cemetery, right? After
No. The woman shouldn't go to the cemetery at all. Period. A levaya. That's what it says in the Zohar. That's what it says in Shulchan Aruch. If you look it up in Shulchan Aruch, this is beschreven. But in Shulchan Aruch, no, the Shulchan Aruch is Shinin test. I think it is. You look it up in your Ideya. I think it's Shinin test. The Mechaber says woman should not go out to the cemetery. Period. Many minhagim, what people do often, it's not the pitoida. It became a style in LA. I asked when I moved in, I found out.
Brazil was like this.
But the woman went. So they didn't know the halacha. In Europe, they didn't go.
I understand, if someone's burying their
If they're
friend, they
pregnant,
wanna be there.
If they're in need, they know the details, there's details to that.
But it says it shouldn't go. We have, no?
So I'm not really, if you talk about a style, it seems pretty logical to me that, you know, if someone's friend or parent or relative is being buried, they wanna be there when they're being put in the ground.
But in Yerushalayim, in Williamsburg, and in Borough Park where I grew up, it didn't.
It's like a mafioso over at the.
Oh, they marked not to let.
Don't
Just,
let the family members come up to the Kura or anything.
they're not this. So it's a different minhagim. Anyways, I'm just saying what it says in Shulchan Aruch. You know, can I bother you? Want to bring me Yoreh De'ah? Want to bring me Yoreh De'ah Chelik Gimel? Do you have it here?
I'm afraid not yet.
Oh, you don't have a set here. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Thought it was a set. All right.
Right, the men stand on 2 sides, and the men has to, but when it's a woman, when it's a ship, it's all the men on one side should pass the line, they also walk not, isn't that the same problem?
Shooter, the fact that there's a shooter front of
No, Shulchan Aruch doesn't mention the shura the Beis Olam for women. Shulchan Aruch doesn't mention it. I'm saying they went, if the woman go, they make a shura, but the Shulchan Aruch doesn't mention it because women should not go.
So when they do go today, it's reality, no, I'm against making like a lot of push on this stuff. So what should you tell women, we're not from the women?
No.
No, that's nothing to do. Once they're there, it should be menachem. That's right. That's nothing to do. Shouldn't go. But once they go, they shouldn't menachem. If I'm not mistaken, the Mechaber says, and the Shach brings it down, that people die in the city when women go to the Beis Olam.
Only for a Levaya or before?
Only for Levi. Only when you melava a mess. It's a Shulchan Aruch, so you know it's not a style. It's just
So there's a
They-
method to do it, to Melaveh Metz, right?
the men should be melava the mess.
Maybe this is like passing slow.
You know the woman also could be malava, but they shouldn't go out to the Beis Olam. They used to come down, used to take daladamas. That's I remember. The woman walked daladamas. They would stop, and the men would go, and they wouldn't move. That's how the minute
There's
was.
a Levaya going on, but they're not part of it. There's a woman's going to the aisle, and there's a Levaya going on.
What's something else? That's something else. Okay, Lineda, next week if I remember. I'll bring a Shecheli Gimel. I'll quote you the Mechaber.
What's the connection? Why doctor is the Malach for the women and not men?
So that's a good question. Why? So the Zohar says, it's mamish what I just mentioned before, the frightening Zohar. To me, the master of Shimon this question. If you want to look up the Zohar is beginning Pashas V'Yakel. And the Zohar says that the reason is because Chava caused the Malach HaMuvas to come to this world. That means that she gave, what's his name, Udam to eat, and she caused the Malach HaMuvas. So when the Malach HaMuvas is, when a person dies, the Malach HaMuvas is quite happy that he did what he did. And he hangs out with the ladies because they're Heimish. You know, that's what he says. That's what he says. That's what he says. It wasn't Mavatli. He said when you cut onions, the Gemara is only talking you cut it to eat it now. If you cut onions for later, he said it doesn't apply. He has a raya. This is not Mavatl, this is a Zohar, you know. It's very interesting. The Sfadim always try to keep the Zohar. It comes to certain things, they go to the Zohar. Those go to cemetery. Wow. Wow. But, all right, you can look it up. You see Shinim Tess. You know, Agadik, let me say a very interesting thing. A tragedy that happened in New York, and I spoke about it in my shul. You know, there's a Zohar that says that why do we bring an Egla Rifa when someone got murdered? What's the whole in the Egla Rifa? You take, you know what Egla Rifa? You take a calf, and you don't find someone was murdered, and you don't know who murdered it, so you measure it to the closest city. You bring a calf, and you take a hatchet, and you knock it from the back of its neck, and it's what? It's a hocus pocus. What is this? So the Zohar says, a very interesting Zohar, that when a person gets killed, it's not the Malach HaMuvas that kills him. Look the Zohar. Murdered. So if a person gets murdered, it's not the Malach HaMuvas. And because it's not the Malach HaMuvas that does it, the Malach HaMuvas is furious that you took his business away. Versteht the Zohar? In order to mefayis the Malach HaMuvas, we do the Egla Rifa. So the Mefarsha Zohar says that's only, the Pasuk says very clearly, you don't know who the murderer is. And if we do know who the murderer is, you must avenge the murder. You know, us in the Torah, the Torah demands, and the Goyal Adam, you know, the only time, you know, there's a din in the Torah, if a person murders someone b'mezid, there's a Goyal Adam. There's a Machlokes Shishon Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Yossi, if it's a mitzvah for the Goyal Adam to murder the murderer. The Ram Paskin said the Shus. No, the Shus. No, the Rambam was talking about a shoygig, if he left. The Ram Paskin like Yossi Glili. So the Rambam says Mezit, the Rambam said Paskin that by the Goyal Adam is a mitzvah to take revenge and kill the murderer. Why? Because what the Zohar says, that if the murderer is here and they take care of him, then the Malach HaMuvas is not Mekatrik. But if you don't take care of it, you don't know who murdered it, then the Malach HaMuvas it's dangerous. That's why you bring the Egla Rifa. That's why we in the Torah, we do believe in capital punishment. It's not like the Goyim. You know, my daughter tells me today, supper, that this guy who killed he's only going to get 21 years in prison. This is a Goyish cup. Only a Goyish cup would think this way. 21 years, then he's a free bird. I mean, he killed 100 people, and he's going to he'll be flying free. You know, that the Torah does believe in capital punishment. You should know that. And the Rabban al Torah, what do you say? Who? No, and the Rabban al Torah says that this is, the Rabban and Pashas Shaftim says that it's the Rachmunas of the Tipshin who don't want to keep capital punishment.
But here you take the Malach HaMuvas job again.
The Hashem told us to do it. The Banish Leram. No, the Banish told us to do it. That's what Hashem said to do it. Okay. Anyway, so
the office also has control
No, Malach Mavus only deals with humans.
So how are you taking away his job the second time?
You're not taking the job. I told me don't take away the job.
No, but how's it appeasing to the Malach Mavus when you clap it on the...
Instructions, the English, they know.
That already is, the Zohar doesn't explain. Not everything is explained. Okay. So the Rav, again, Yesh Leshis Lechabel, Ki Oile Imastem, Harusim Chabel. Now this is the Rav's Zohar. He calls it Zohar. Ki Oile Imastem, the Yoyle Noiten Shuma. He flies up the Malach HaMuvas. See, the Malach HaMuvas is the prosecutor. The prosecutor is the Ed, and he's the he's the seducer. How you say the seducer? You say the first he's a seducer, then he's a prosecutor, and then he's the executioner. That's the thing what it says. The Malach HaMuvas. He's all one. So the Zohar says the Malach HaMuvas goes up to Shemayim. If he's talking about if you meet a woman and come back on Levi, he runs up to Shemayim, he checks your records, this guy's records, and says, Rabbi Shalom, he deserves to die, and if you did something, that he comes down, and who knows what happens. Don't bump into one face to face. Behind the ladies, when you come back, do not come the same way. We grew up this way. We never went with the Zalavaya. We never went back the same way. We always went back a different way around the block. If you do fine, you bump the mess and the woman, you dalig, you jump away dalam, yeshem nu yavrenu. There's a new jump over a river. Yeshem derech acheres yerich yeshem kois yam acheres akoisel at shiyavri to the woman pass by. V'melav yachzav puna v'yoyim b'pusik v'yoyim shem arsuta yigebechu Hashem. And the Rav says, if ain't shom shevenushim, 7 women ain't lochish kol kach. Yeah, I don't know. And parentheses means what? That the Alter Rebbe wasn't sure. What does that mean? I'm not sure what it means when it's in parentheses. The Rav himself put the parentheses, I was told. Anyways, I looked up the Zohar once, and I saw the Zohar other once. Yeah, it doesn't write such a Lashon called God. You have to see it doesn't not so clear Lashon. Anyways, the bottom line is when women come back, when you go to Levaya, and you should don't if you see a woman, don't turn around and go the other way.
So Levaya includes
The Levaya means malava the mess. That means when you, let's say make a hesped, now you walk. How do you say malava in English? Escort. You escort the mess. So you come, they bring down the mess, you escort the mess. That's the time you should avoid the ladies.
So after the burial, if you were leaving, then it's okay.
No, after burial, they're coming back, you shouldn't also see the woman. If the woman together, you shouldn't go.
Behind them, you can't go in front of them.
You can either behind them or in front of him, not face to face.
Same thing you and Hesped and the body's elsewhere, right? You know, where like they shipped it off to Israel.
No, that's not a problem. It's not a problem at all. Not a problem at all.
But the husband is fine, and then the rest.
Bring us back to that.
Okay. After there's a tradition that people after they come back from a Levaya, they always say we should only go on Simchas. So when I was young, someone asked me this question. Remember, someone asked me, "What does it mean you should only go to Simchas? I mean, people are going to die. I mean." There's an alter joke in the Polish Hasidim, which they used to say, in Belz, there was no basic kvuris. No one died when the Belzer Rebbe was alive. Which is a joke. I mean, people died in times of Baal Shem Tov, his Talmidim died, and the Alter Rebbe's Talmidim, some died. Death is, with all the miracles, people die. With the Rebbe, without the Rebbe, people die. The Malach HaMuvas is in charge still. So, what is the bracha? So I said to him, I have a different question. We say an every Rosh Hashanah, Chsoiv l'chaim toivin kol b'nei b'risecho. What does that mean? No one should die?
The life should be good life.
No, it says Chsoiv l'chaim toivin kol b'nei means yes, we have a right to daven the ultimate. No one should die this year. Even I know, you know, and everyone knows that people are going to die. But we daven Chsoiv l'chaim toivin, so we can give a bracha. Well, no, that's Mashiach comes, will also die.
At a certain point, no.
No, it's going to be there's Misa, and then going to be Tchisa Mason. Mashiach comes, there's going to be everyone. The Zohar says everyone has to die.
If it's going to be Bakishan, if it's going to be
Ah, it's like this one, Mashiach.
no, it's a Gemara. If it's going to come before the time, then all of these kufas are going to happen right away.
Yeah, but the Zohar says clearly, since still has Hamas and Nuchash, Zohar says we all have to die. That is a question how long, but we'll all have to expire. You know, I tell myself, we all have an expiration date, but it's stamped someplace, we have no idea where that is. No idea.
So
Okay.
My last question about the cemetery thing. Once you leave the cemetery separate from your wife, if she wants to go, at that point can you get in the car and go together?
Yeah, yes.
After you leave the cemetery.
Yes. Just don't bump into the ladies. What I do, being a rabbi, I have to go to the Levais and officiate. So if there's ladies there, I leave immediately. Don't have I disappear. And I always park my car in the front. My wife never comes. I don't let her come. I don't let my wife come.
And if you're like Mount Sinai, you're parked at the top, just tell the wife to walk down and you just drive.
So the Rab, Usalava, this is a practical thing that Rab says. Usalava menachal shemei merodfim. You're not allowed to go through a river which is running water. Mamayim megim lamalam misnaim, above your loins. You say misnaim is the loins. Above the loins, shim skuna shleish tefiyah mayim. This is a practical thing. This is a Gemara. Don't go in running water. The water is because you're gonna lose it. You hear this all the time in the river over here when the boys jump into
How
it.
far does this go, though? I mean, can you apply this to other situations where
Don't do anything that's dangerous.
Is it White River rafting?
Without a life vest.
Yeah, I see. You guys asked. You were not heard this. The people were asking this question 2 weeks ago. I have no idea. It has to. If it's dangerous, it's dangerous. If it's not dangerous, with the people were saying they wear a helmet and the thing. It's
but at what point do you say it's dangerous or it's not? I mean, there's a percentage of people that get hurt
Very
doing.
dangerous. There's no
Okay, it's very dangerous. I
Depends
don't-
on what your
I don't-
mother told you.
It's very dangerous.
No, I'm saying let's say there's 10%.
that's very dangerous.
Be careful.
One out of let me just say. You know what the danger is? If 1 out of 1,000 people get hurt, that's an epidemic. Even in medical science, it's a Lushna Magid Mishnah. The Magid Mishnah says, why are you allowed to be Mechal Shabbos for Yoledis, for a lady giving birth, even though only 1 out of 1,000 is dangerous. But since 1 out of 1,000 is dangerous, you're allowed to be Mechal Shabbos for a lady who is giving birth. So if it's 1 out of 1,000, that is called Vehanefesh. I always ask the doctors, how dangerous is this? Yeah, well, it's only 1%. 1% is just too much. I mean, I unfortunately had to tell someone, we talked about an abortion, and one of the questions, always like when people come, but how dangerous is it? What's the danger? But 1 out of 1,000 is called a choyle shesh b'skuna, not mamish, it's a choyle shesh b'skuna, that it's like a yoledus. You have to try to do with the shini.
So you have people that ride motorcycles. It's for sure more than 1% that they get hurt. There's a statistic that whoever gets a motorcycle, they no matter whether hit, no matter how they're driving, they're going to get hurt. Is it an isser to drive a motorcycle? To ride a motorcycle?
Yeah, you shouldn't drive one. If the statistic is right, what you're saying, then you shouldn't drive one.
It's not 1% per event. Every time they get on a motorcycle, they don't have more
No,
than
there's like a
1%
percentage
chance.
of people who buy it. There's a very high
Throughout their
percentage.
life.
Yeah, but usually people, I'll tell you why, motorcycle is not a ride. Usually people like to do dangerous things. It's part of a motorcyclist. They like to, and, that's why.
But is
Okay. What?
it an isser? Is what I don't know.
If it's dangerous, it's awesome. I don't,
It's so square, we can't possibly.
Like how to clarify, if you do something in a safe way, then that changes it. Meaning, if you drive a motorcycle wildly, then obviously it's not allowed. But if you're going to drive safely, then put-
See, most motorcyclists, you do see it all the time, drive like, they love to drive wild. That's the truth. You see them speeding down the freeway. I go 80 miles an hour. The motorcycle goes at least 10 miles quicker than me, when you're driving an empty freeway. I mean, that is really dangerous. They will tell you it's... Okay.
What if, let's say somebody has a decision on a medical procedure, and the procedure, there's a 1% chance that it'll kill them. But if they don't do it, the alternative also has a chance.
That's the most frightening questions that when I have to answer. I lose sleep over those questions. It's very hard to answer always. It's very, very difficult. You know, what percentage and how the healthy, I recently had such a question, I was driving the doctor nuts. So I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. It depends on the situation, depends what, how old the person, usually older people. The question, should I put a tube in a few weeks ago? The doctor says putting a tube in is a big chance the person will die this way. So I tell people, don't do it. Just don't put the tube in, because putting a tube in is a high percent that the person will expire while doing it. Right? But that they're going to die. Right, that's different. And let me say about it is a famous haftarah we read the Pashas Metzora. Gehazi and his 3 sons, Gehazi was a Tsaras, a Metzora. And he was, a Metzora has to leave this town, and he was a Metzora with 3 sons, and they were outside Yerushalayim. And there was a hunger, because they were surrounded by Aram, what? Ashur, Melech Aram. So anyway, there was no food, and there was incredible hunger. So Elisha said that, he said to the king, now tomorrow, there's going to be, I forgot the Lushna Pusik, bread is going to be sold unbelievable cheap. The day before, the dung, that's what it says in the Pusik, the dung of pigeons was sold for $100. Because the pigeons would eat wheat, and they find in the dung of pigeons, they would find wheat. Imagine, wheat kernels. But he said, tomorrow, you'll be able to buy wheat and soidim for incredible cheap. So there was one guy, a captain, laughing. He says, Yiftach Hashem aribas hashemoyim. Hashem will open, the heavens will open, is there such a thing? What happened? But really, it was surrounded by Melech Haram, and what happened was that that night came down a voice, and they all started running, abandoned all the things, and no one knew about it. But Gehazi and his 3 sons were outside. They figured like this: we're outside Yerushalayim. If we stay here, we're going to die from hunger. We give ourselves up to them, either they're going to feed us, or they're going to kill us, but we're going to die anyways. So they did it, and they found that everything was empty. They're the ones who came back to Yerushalayim and told the king that the Melech Haram abandoned everything. So the Choshen bring a eye from this Gemara that if a person is anyways going to die, if you don't do a procedure, he's surely going to die. But if you do what?
12 hours later, they're going to die 12 hours later.
Right. If you don't do a procedure, they're going to die, for sure. But if you do the procedure, there's a chance. Then we say, Shulchan, do the procedure. But if the person is anyways dying, he's an old man, and this is not working, and that's not working, or person is terminally ill, the question is just extending the life. You're not mechuyev to do that. Did I answer your question? Okay. What did you say? Okay. Let's move on. Okay. Don't cut meat on top of your hand. This is a Gemara. Be safe. I don't know why they used to cut meat. Put a piece of meat on your hand. They used to cut the meat. The Gavayad is here. I don't know why. But don't. This you just had in Daf Yomi. You know that. If you learn Daf Yomi, you just learned it. Don't take a splinter for a toothpick, because it could lodged into your mouth. How you say splinter in Hebrew? Cuts. You could hurt yourself. They use something. Don't use something that's dangerous, Bekitza. Now this is a very, very, very important Rav. The Rav is going to say this. And one thing I've watched, I grew up, there were many people who used to curse and used to say, I grew up between Holocaust survivors, and there was a lot of anger, but I don't, Baruch Hashem, I see the children are raised, they don't curse the way they used to curse. It says, Usa, lahoitze, nepibdu, neprunius, al udeshem Yisrael. You're not allowed to say something, prunius. How do you say prunius in English? Punishment. Well, it means suffering, punishment, pain. Even not a curse. Even not a curse. Let me tell you where this Gemara in Ksubas. This is a frightening Gemara in Mesechtes Ksubas. The Gemara says a moira used to come home every Friday. He was a newlywed. You hear newlyweds, how those days they used to live. He would come home every Friday night. A whole week he would be Medrash. Friday night he would come home to learn. One time he didn't come home. The father-in-law saw that his son-in-law did not come home. He said that if he would be here, he would have come home, because he would not bevatel the mitzvah of being together with his wife. What really happened, that he was learning and he forgot himself to come home. Imagine, those days, he forgot himself to come home. Because it came out of his mouth this way, the person died. Bris, krisa, lesvasayim. There's a bris bounded if you say, the Hamazel, that we're not such tzaddikim, we don't have such mouths, because otherwise, Rabbi Shalom, who knows what the world will come to an end. But the truth is, but the Rav says that you're not allowed to. Usa lahoitzi. Don't even say by mistake something. That's why I remember, you teach people, don't say to a child, you're going to fall. Don't climb on the table, you're going to fall. You're not supposed to say that. Just say, don't climb on the table, because it could be, you could hurt yourself. Don't say you're going to fall, because you can. You might hurt yourself. You never say, directly, in Yiddish, they would curse them. They used to say, the Schlag soll ich dort treffen. You know what that means? That's very saying that the Schlag means, Schlag means the Samach Mem should bump into you. The Sita Achra should bump into you. You're not allowed to say that. People don't know this. You're not allowed to curse and say, this and this should happen to you.
When you said about if he was here, that wouldn't have happened. It seemed like it was a good thing. He was trying to comfort his daughter and say,
No, he meant to say he died.
He was telling you basically.
He says, you know why he didn't come home? He's not alive anymore. He was convinced that he's not alive. He thought, but how could he not come home?
He was explaining to them what he's going to do to him.
Push Pshat, but Push Pshat, he said he's not alive, and it was a mistake, and he died because it came out of his mouth. And the Rav quotes his Gemara, you shouldn't do it. What? Well, the Reishish Chachma says, if a person only speaks the truth all the time, you don't have to be a big tzaddik, then whatever he says will become true. There were stories through Chassidim, there were simple people who would say, give a bracha, and became, I think the Chayzer once said on it, was a very simple guy who was a very simple guy in town. And he said, he never lies. And I tell people, if someone tells me he never lies, that's the first lie he just said to me. It's very hard not to lie. It's extremely difficult. Really have to work very, very, very hard on it not to lie. But anyways, what the Rav is saying, so you shouldn't say, this is very frightening, you shouldn't say indirectly even, bad things, and he says, Kibris Krisel is society, a dog or a cat should take you away. Kiyesh mazikim shalem shemus geshemus atmeim. Our mazikim, they have this name. And bichoy lahazi tinin begifo ibn shmusoi. You hear this? Shabris krisa. This was sign. It's a very frightening thing. This is based on the Shluk edition that it brings down. It's also based on on the Rizal, I think. But people never tell a child a cat is going to take you, the dog is going to bite you. Because they are mazikim called that way, and it could be poigim his body or his neshama. It's a very frightening thing. So, never say that. You have to be very careful, because your tongue, hergel, means you got into the habit of saying things. So you have to be very, very careful. Tongue is a very, very powerful tool, you know that. Tongue is extremely, extremely powerful. All right. So the Shechonach Sholom be'ir, if there's peace in the city, al yelech udon betzida druchem. If there's peace, don't walk in the side, all the way side in the road. Why? The Shamal Chamuvas ein l'shis lava imach bi'atz betzida druchem. He's on the side of the road, off the road. No, not that. It means on a road, a road traveled, you go on the side, that's where the Malach HaMovis is usually. Deva be'ir, if there's a plague, al yalachud emtza dev, shemalach HaMovis, malach emtza druchoy, v'nos reshis lavoy, he has a permission to go. If there's a plague, don't walk in the middle of the street. Yesh levroich betchiles hadever. If there's a plague, you gotta run. Run. Baruch Hashem, we don't live in a really Baruch Hashem, but used to be people. How's it called? Forgot the. They had recently in Haiti. What was the water? What did you say? Corolora, how's it pronounced?
The flu epidemic, 1918.
Yeah, but that was the times of the one of the Rebbes in Lubavitch. I saw it once. Someone showed me the story is quoted there. The story is quoted by Salanta. He got up and he told the whole Oivelam Yom Kippur everyone should eat because there was the epidemic of cholera was going around. And today we live we know where it comes from unsanitary water. We live in a different. It always bothered me in the Gemara's times. They never drank water. And if you notice in the Gemara, they always drank wine, beer. And many years ago, someone explained to me because they knew that water was dangerous to drink. They knew that you drink some of the waters, you die. So they didn't drink water as much as we know that we know that water could be contaminated when we watch it and when we cook it, and it's a whole different world. I always tell that anyone who learns now Masechta Schon, I always just said today, we eat more kosher than ever. Because it's the way it's done, the way it's run, our kashrus is better, health is better. The only thing that's not better is our kvetching. We do the same job as they all did. Maybe better. Because we have time to, I always tell my children when they kvetch, it's a luxury to kvetch. When there was a hunger, no one kvetched. You just made sure you got a job. You know what I mean? And a young guy came to me yesterday, can't find a job. So I told him, if your parents would have thrown you out of the house, you would have found a job quickly. But now I don't like this, I don't want to go into this, the luxury of choosing what you want to work on, if your parents just say you're out of here, you'll find a job quite quickly. Anyway, so don't run away the end. I mean, when there's a devil in the city, the amazikim, so don't go outside, hide inside the houses. Literally, he says. Okay. Now is a new halacha. You're not allowed to curse yourself. Can I ask English? I don't know English. What does damn it mean?
Damn means send someone to Gehenna. Like
damn is Gehenna?
Like damn you is
damnation. It's shortened.
So damn is Gehenna.
Is like to be cursed with Gehenna.
Sending it to Gehenna.
Oh, that's not a curse. I mean, who are you to send him?
Like you should be damned is a curse. It's basically saying.
But when people say, it doesn't make a difference. The Rav says you don't need kavanah here. The Rav says hergalushin is also. So damn it, when a guy drops something, you say to go and say damn it. So what does that mean?
Saying to the object that he dropped, it should be damned.
Should be damned. So that's a curse.
That's what it's a curse.
Curse, it should not be said.
It shouldn't be said. I hear Yiddish people say it. I never knew what it meant exactly. I never knew. So damn it means that the object should be cursed, sort of to say. You shouldn't do it. You shouldn't say it. People not even realizing you say it. They get angry and
That has Christian.
has a Christian connotation.
Concept of damning something.
Okay, that's even worse. now it's even worse. It says it has the roots of Christianity. Comes from. That they do put the guy put a name.
They say G dash.
Oh,
Say God. Say God.
damn it. Okay. So you shouldn't say it. So what he just said, even though he didn't think, the Rav says hergalushin, even though you don't say it out, but it's hergal means you got in the habit of saying it. Even though you don't think about it, then you shouldn't say it. Okay. Anyway, so it says Shem Suchel Haza Begif Shel Abdoi Kalaloi You're not allowed to be mazik your body. Oh, last week I said I was going to explain this to you. You asked me something and someone else said, so at the end someone asked me, I don't remember who it was, but let me just quickly explain this again. Moshe explains that smoking, you cannot say that smoking you're mazik. You're not mazik your goof now. Something you're not mazik your goof right now, there you say Shem P'sayim Hashem. I said it last week, I don't know why it was something that you didn't understand it. Again, when something you're hurting yourself right now, you go do something dangerous now, you're going to hurt yourself now. You're driving a motorcycle recklessly, or you do, whatever you do, jet skis recklessly, whatever you do. So that you're not allowed to do, that you're mazik, and something happened. Smoking doesn't mazik you right now. If you smoke in a long time, it has a terrible effect on your body, on your lungs, and that you say Shem P'sayim Hashem. But after Ken, the Chofetz Chaim says you're going to have to give the cheshbon why you didn't take care of your body better. That means you should take care of your body. If a person has high cholesterol, he should make sure he eat not high, whatever the diet is. A person suffers from sugar, he's obligated, not to eat things that doesn't work for his body. That's what he says of it.
Probably not now, right away. You say you might fall, or you're going to fall.
Yeah, but that's a curse. You're not allowed to curse. That's a curse. That's a separate thing. And he reminded me another question. I forgot your name again. Menachem asked me, what's the difference between a superstitious and a segula? There are a lot of segula. Now, the Gemara has a whole arichas in Masechta Shabbos about this. And the Gemara talks about darkei moiri. Certain things are called darkei moiri. Certain darkei moiri, the poskim say means something we know that doesn't work. This doesn't work. That's called darkei moiri. They do it anyways, even though it doesn't work. Certain sgulas that's supposed to be working. The Gun says, let me tell you a famous Vilna Gun. The says Elchonon, the Remu says that the samdik is like making ketores and you become wealthy. That's why you should not mechabed the same person twice with Sandekuas, because like a kohen never did twice the Ketores. So the Guan, I never saw anyone become wealthy from being a Sandik. Now the truth is, Kahanim, Yosef says, you saw they became incredibly wealthy. The kohen who did Ketores became wealthy. It was seen. So that's where you see his gula works. Now many of the gulas,
He hung out with people that learned the whole day 24 hours a day. They would have gone to work, they would have become wealthy.
No, if he's become wealthy, he could sit and learn, you become wealthy. I've seen that myself. No, I guess the Beshed. What?
They became wealthy while sitting and learning?
I know two people in Lakewood when I was in Lakewood, both became extremely wealthy. A guy did nothing. His father bought him stocks when he got married in a silly stock. And, his father put some money into this, that stock. I remember this goes 30 years ago. Overnight, he spent just $100, and a few months later, it was worth $1,000, and he sold it much later. It was one of these inventions that came out. Here a guy was sitting and learning, it's true. And let me tell you, it's true what you're saying, because the Gemara does say, the Gemara does say that a person should go into business. Rav, let me tell you, it's a Gemara later in Elchonon, it's a Gemara also in Tanis. The Gemara says that Rav had a son who was not Matzliach. He told his son, don't be a farmer. Because one year the farmer plows it this way, the other time he plows it this way. What difference does it make? Generally, we know how much a land could give out. If you go into business, a business that could be a brocha and you could be very successful. Imagine. That's what the Gemara says. It's a Talmud Bavli. The Gemara says also later, Rabbi Yochanan used to tell his Talmidim, if you go into business, go into sheep. Shema Ashtris Kanain, Shema Ashtris is Baleim. So he told them which profession to go. You do find out, because the brocha has to be chal. There's a place that you're in business, it could be chal. And if you, do things as a bichal, for that reason I say it says smach zvulum etzesecho yisuchu b'yulechu. Why was Zvulun zoicha to uphold Torah? Because Zvulun was not a farmer. Zvulun were import and exports. Zvulun was, if you import and export, you could support Torah. You're a farmer, it's very difficult to support Torah. That's what the reality is. But after we can, if it's Bashet a person, he does, that could happen, when he wants.
So the difference between segula is that...
Now, segula is about that, but there are many segulas which is picked up from the goyim, which are knocking on wood. Comes from the goyim. I was sitting once in jury, we were sitting, and and it was a Yiddish lady sitting next to me. And we always saying, I hope you're not going to call on me for jury. We're sitting already in the, they're calling the names and numbers, whatever was going. So she tells me, I'm crossing my fingers not to be called. I said, you told me you're Jewish. Yeah, I'm Jewish. But you know what crossing the fingers? I said crossing. Yeah, you said crossing the fingers. Crossing fingers means at Salem. Even I knew that. Imagine but that is, what's his name? I'm just saying that is, what do you say?
Even in Hebrew, they say lachzik it's bod.
They say that?
Yeah.
It comes from the ground.
I didn't know that.
It comes from...
They make a cross.
That's what knock on wood is.
Right.
Knock on wood also
Yeah,
means...
there was a stone made of wood.
What?
The stone was made of wood.
Yeah, so the knock on wood, that comes... But things that sometimes people have as gulets, we have no idea. The red bendel, the red...
That's a good one.
that we have no... The guy... I don't know. That's good to know. When it first came out, I looked. When it first came out, let me just tell you that when it first came out, I looked all over. The Rizal speaks about it and all, but I didn't find anyone saying it. Today, today people say, all miracles,
They buy it at Brenkel's.
They do it in India also. It's that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But there's so many different schools.
If it's
mentioned,
mentioned, there are segulas which mention the Gemara, mentioned in the Zohar. There are segulas. You know what? If you want to become wealthy, the Gemara says very, very, very clearly. The Gemara says it's bodik imanusa. But I'm telling you right now, it's going to be very hard. Respect. That means it was checked and it was tested and it worked. It was tested with double. How you say in English? Double blind testing. The Gemara says respect your wife. I know that's not so easy.
What does that mean?
I mean, but the Gemara says so. The Gemara says very clearly. The Zohar says so. The Zohar brings a raya. The Gemara doesn't bring a raya. The Zohar brings a raya. And it says Avram became wealthy. Who's the Balkoida? Biglal Sora. So the Zohar says here you see that the wealth comes from the wife. Your wealth, your success and parnosa comes from your wife, and that's why you should respect it. You respect it, you will become wealthy.
What about when you wash the tefillin? Sometimes use a lot of water. Heard that?
That the Gemara says also. That's the Gemara. That's why the Rav and the Tamid B'Shem Tov very makbid telas yadayim, because the Gemara says also in Elchonon, "Anu mushim mula Yehuda v'nasni mula Yehuda." But everyone washes Baruch Hashem today, mula Yehuda. Yeah, Baruch Hashem. Obviously, it was very difficult those days because water was very difficult to get.
The person who respects his wife to become wealthy is not respecting his wife, so he won't become wealthy. It's a catch.
No, if you b'toch shloi lishma, no. B'toch shloi lishma. I want to tell you an interesting story. Sure. Let me tell you an interesting story.
The only way to come rich is to respect your wife. That's one way. The other way is to wash your hands.
I want to tell you an interesting story. A guy once came to me many years ago. He was supposed to get married, and his offer was Shabbos, and he walks into the koil. I'm learning in the koil, and he's white as a sheet. And I remember he came to me. I was convinced that the shidduch was off. He says, "No." Tells me that he's got a medical problem, and he never told us to his kala. Never told us Shver is very, very wealthy, and he's convinced that the Shver is going to find out his medical problem. He's going to break him up. He didn't want to tell me what the medical problem is, so I'm sitting there thinking, what can I tell this guy? This guy is a young Choshen. And I said to him, I want to tell you a klal about woman. if you're going to respect your wife and adore her, really, really show great respect to her, never will this ever happen. If you show it, you're not stop. You go out of your way to show respect, it never happened. He got married, and he listened. He was very frightened. Tells me 6 months after the wedding, his father calls his wife up. Her father calls him up, and they were said, "I need you in the business. I'm going to need to help me." Closes the door, and exactly predicted a wealthy Munayasha Aziz, and he screams at his daughter, "Before the sun goes down, there's going to be a gap." She tells his father, "No, I love him, and I'm going to live with this problem." He said he really gave her respect, and he told me how far it went, that he didn't realize how much. One time, about a few years afterwards, his wife went out with his sister to surprise another friend. It was a birthday, so they went out in a restaurant. And his sister calls him up at night and says to him, you called your wife, what did you want from him? He's trying to think, yeah, I called her on the cell phone. He said, why do you want to know? Because your wife just glowed. He didn't just say, I love her. Well, what was that all about? He says, every time I go into a business meeting, I call my wife and I ask her for her blessing. And she feels like $1 million. And he says, he's not, now I don't know him so well, doesn't live here anymore, but lives in, but I have a feeling, I know it is a medical problem, but they have a great shalom bias, because he really, what a woman needs the most is our respect. If you're not married long enough, they remember every sly comment you said to her for the next 100 years. That women have an incredible memory. The good things they always don't remember so well, but the bad things they. So, but the Gemara does say, respect. The Gemara says you will be successful. The Gemara says so. It's hard, not easy to be, but anyways, coming back to your question, what you said to me is that things that don't work is called dar kamori. Things that says in the Gemara, says in Zohar, says in the Balam and Kibbalah, does based on the Torah, then you can do that.
They don't work it
Yeah, even though it doesn't work, but you can do it.
A lot of different segulas for everything.
Depends who wrote the segula. There are a lot of segulas which we know that we don't know it comes. Kameya have to be a tzaddik to write a kameya. That's totally something else. There's a big Breslov chassid in Yerushalayim with a Yankemei Shechter. He gives kameyas to people, and I have someone kameya, amulet. And someone told me he had a condition that helped him enormously. Now, you also have to believe in the kamei. You have to believe, but you know what? Let me tell you another story. There was a guy in prison. So I get and a Schleim the Gehid. This guy was a big Baal Tzedukah. Neither he wound up in prison. So I get a telephone coming. Schleim the Gal Yid. I should visit him in prison. He's going to fax me a bunch of Shmiras. I should tell him how to mechaven the Shmiras. He went over with me exactly a diagram, and Bodik Manusi is going to come out of jail. He explained to me the whole thing. I should give it over. After I finished with him, I says, Rabbi, I don't even know who he is, but I said, Rabbi, I have a Messiah for my grandfather. There's a Bodik Manusa, a segula that is guaranteed to work. Was? He starts telling me, what is it? Telling Yitzaki al Hashem b'tzalohem. You scream to the Rabbi when you're desperate, but Yishma Hashem is going to listen. Oh, dus, But the Melech says very clearly. Clearly he says, you scream out of desperation, the Rebbe won't listen to you. But that already, that's been, because why? It's much harder, it's much easier to wear a red bundle and than respect your wife or to scream out to Hashem. Scream out to Hashem that demands out of you to do something. Okay, did I answer your question?
It seems to me that segulas are the same thing as superstitions. It just wasn't upon.
No, there's certain. If the Chazal say, then people have the red band. I'm very happy to hear in Chabad the Baba Shua was against it. I remember first came out, I was looking all over. Where does it come? Because I always watch as a young child how minhugim became. A lot of minhugim became. It had nothing to do with anything. It just became. A hot mikveh. Moshe Shabbos, there's no heter of a hot mikveh Shabbos. It became this way. In Europe, there was no such thing. They didn't have the system to have a hot mikveh Shabbos. It didn't exist. I asked all the old people when I still around 30 years ago, and they said to me, they didn't have a steam to warm up the mikveh. But today you try to make our mikveh, make sure it's pashim, it's lukewarm to Shabbos. But they came today. People claim to say 1,000 years already they're going to hot mikveh. An echte getur. So us have to go in the hot mikveh. Only a lady is allowed to go in the hot mikveh, not men. Shabbos for sure. What did you say?
There's a sefer about in the back of the sefer, there's hundreds of segulas.
He quotes each segula where he takes it from. There was let me quickly say another story. There was a mess. You remember, Yankee? There was a guy who went swimming and drowned. Remember the story? Yeah, 5 years ago already. It's 4 years ago. Overnight. So, what? No, not older one. Naftali. So what's his name? Swanansky. And what happened was, so they got together, and the Tam and Haguf says there's gula to do. Just to put a lecht with the bread, the whole thing they did, they put it onto the water, and 45 minutes the mess swam up to from the bottom. They found the mess. It was a whole week, they couldn't find him.
They first had
Yeah.
Who saw them do it?
I told my friends how to do it. They asked me how to do it. I didn't want to go, but they asked me how to do it. They did. Rabbi Dweck was there, Rabbi Lange was there, and I forget, maybe Rabbi Dweck asked me to show them the Tam and Haguf. And it was done the first time, it was done in Toronto. You know the story in Toronto, boat, a father-in-law with a son-in-law drowned?
Yeah.
In the Great Lakes off Toronto. So anyways, and they did the same thing there, and they only found one mess. The other one they didn't find till the next year when the water. But that Zgula worked. It worked on the spot. And not every Zgula works.
Pigeon one. Pigeon on
I asked an expert. He says that it's both. Yeah, the guy.
That's a medical diagnosis. There's a difference. That's not.
I know somebody who's done it.
It worked.
When he was a kid, they put the pigeon, and the guy was in the pigeon yellow, and the pigeon took the yellow, whatever it was.
Okay. Let's try to finish this halacha over here by side. Shem shetzurich lehazer begifo shel abdo lekalo lezika ketzurich lehazer b'moyado in his money. You hear about you shouldn't curse your own money. Calculate. Oh, it says the calculate. Sorry, no. Look at abdoi. Look, calculate. Right. To heard it. Zikoi. So, anyways, if you break kalim because you're angry, or kreya begudem, or hoyres binyan, or soisamayim, or ma'abel mechule samashkin, or ma'masom. If you destroy things that other people can use, you're over aloisisa. Many people don't know that. What? Aloisisa for baltashlis.
How does that work in this day and age when we throw away
Yeah, but no one's interested in your leftovers. That's why.
In Africa they are.
Yeah, but it's not going to get to Africa,
Some people can share food because.
Yeah, but that's grandma. But the bottom line is that no one is interested in your food.
That's what he's talking about. Some people get mad and break things, they put them on the wall.
That you're not allowed to do. But I'm saying, but he's saying over here, you shouldn't destroy. The reason we throw out food because there's no customers. You know what I mean? Like no one around.
In other words, we should recycle if we can.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, I can't say that's about tashkid, but that's a good idea to recycle. It's true. Yeah.
Let's go.
What about leaving your clothing on the floor? You wore clothes and you throw them on the floor. Heard this? That it's disrespectful.
That says in Chassidus form not to do it to your clothing. That's not a good thing to do. But this doesn't. It is mentioned as far like a Lachem Bresla mentioned, so another Chassidus form, not to step on your clothing, to respect your clothing. Okay, if you destroy anything to people, V'zira toila shenochrem, not to destroy the wood that you use. Shel lechumim when you go to work. Have a chaimish leisrol afilam shel hefker. Even hefker, don't destroy something that someone can use. And if you find someone can use it, give it away. Just to show anger. Even that you're not allowed to do that. That means if the Rav is machmed, there's one moment that says you're allowed to do that. The Rav is saying, even, yes, in the bottom he asks the kasha, but the Gemara is not mashmat way, she brings from the whole list of svarim over here. But the Gemara is mashmat that if you do it to show who's boss over here, and then you're basically allowed to. The Rav is so not that way. If you're doing it, even though you want to just, the people should get frightened, you break something, you're not allowed to. You're allowed to break something that's broken already. The Gemara says, Muhammad says he broke something that was broken just to get them. But should we break something under the chuppah? But that's a zeichel l'charbon, so you're allowed to do that. We're doing it purposely because that's zeichel l'charbon. Okay.